So first thing we're going to look at is the updated document templates. So this really just provides for increased customization in what's available. So this is an example quote that we have in the system right now. Building out the templates, it's just a little bit better look and feel in designing this. So if you want to add these layouts, you're just dragging and dropping these fields and blocks of how you're going to be building the page. And then you're just dragging and dropping any images, text sections, quotes, and details into the page from here. You then edit all of these data fields by entering in text and components. But if you see there's these brackets around certain elements, those are your tokens. So tokens have also been enhanced in a way, in that you can drag and drop these details into these text fields, or you can copy paste them in and duplicate them as you're moving around in the system. So we've got contact full name used a couple of different times in here, so it's just copying and pasting it so that you can use it a little bit more quickly. But otherwise you can drag and drop into the different fields, so that part's a bit more friendly. You do get all of the standard fields that are available based off the module that this document is created for, and then like their custom fields and any additional details, and the list of under communications, you have access to any saved filters that you have against that the communications, and it would just use the opportunity tag based off of what's in the communications. So then the other components under here is you get to now add in the custom fields of any connected entities. So if I have an opportunity that's connected to a contact, then I can start filtering by any of those details based off of the connection. Or if that opportunity is connected to a product, so if I wanted to start building out a quote and populating in any product details, I can list off any like a one-off product or any reoccurring products, or list all. So like the use case in that is if you wanted to break out your quote so that you had your one-off billing components separated from your reoccurring products, so that it's just shown on two different places within the quote. And the next enhancement components are under the style, so that this is really just allowing you to manipulate the screen a little bit better. So doing things like the centering as to where you want the text aligned or the image aligned within the box or the document here. Working with then the padding and margins. You can change your dimensions here. The typography is more of the text components and what you wanted all of that to look like based in these text boxes as well. And then the fancy part is under decorations. So this is doing like your text shadowing, making text bolder, colorful, and things like that. So then once you save the document, it's available against any opportunity record, since this document was built against the module opportunities, but it works the exact same way. So if I'm on with any of the other modules, so if it's created against a contact module and I go to create the document, or it's called generate document on the profile page, then I'd be able to see this quote document as available under the contact one. So this document will then push out to that appropriate module, and upon generating, the contact's full name within the opportunity would populate, the opportunity ID would populate, and it just pushes into a PDF, which then you can save as a file or send off and include in an email. You can also preview these documents and what they look like just by using this preview button. And you have some additional functionality up here like undo, look at the actual source code, and different format layouts, like if you wanted it to be landscape or portrait, things like that. So that's a look at our updated document template functionality. The next bit is looking at our email templates. So the email template is an active or specifically available only through our Outlook 365 integration. So you do have to have Outlook enabled and active to use this functionality. All you have to do is connect your email account, so it's your username and password, your Outlook username and password, and then you're ready to go to start using it. It is turned on within the organization's profile page, or sorry, within the the control panel, and then each individual user has to sign up for their Office 365 account for it to then be available, so that it's sending from that end user. So what you have in here is when I go and click on this green add drop down, instead of clicking generate document, I'm actually clicking send email. Then any emails that I've created, and it's built back in that same templates space in the control panel, right where you'd be generating a document, except at the very beginning you get to define, am I creating a document or am I creating an email? So the same exact thing happens. You're just saying that it's going to be an email, and then because I'm on a contacts profile page, any emails that I'd created against that profile page or that module are then available for me to select underneath this drop down here. So right now I have the thanks for attending one, and if that had been a proper build out, it would populate here within the body, and then I could tag any specific components in here as well. So if I have an opportunity I wanted to associate this communication with, I can do that. I can edit my from and to sections. I can add any connections that we have to the contact. So let's say I was sending this, sending this from a project's profile page instead of the contacts profile page, and I wanted to send it to all the people that are connected to the project, saying that it's going on hold right now, or there's been a delay, or we're ahead of schedule, or just wanted to send an update. So I can add all of the connected that module as other like CC components. You can also BCC contacts within here, and it will just add out a subject line where you can then search for those contacts in here. As soon as you hit send, because you have your email synced, that email will record or host it or copy back against Salpo and record itself against that contact's profile page. And if you had included a tag on here for that specific project, that communication would store against the project's profile page as well. So that's the awesome new email template. Next, we're going to have a look at reoccurring revenue. So this is where you get to specify the billing frequency and cycle for each product when you're adding it to an opportunity. You can also start using these components within your sales reports, so you're showing the revenue per month per year if needed. So when I go to add a product against an opportunity, if I click this add drop down and click product here, it then opens up this add product window modal. And this is where the recurring revenue section is, where it says billing frequency. You can change this to one-off, monthly, or annual. You get to choose when the billing will start and how long the billing cycle is. So if it's an annual contract, you can say billing frequency is monthly, and you say it should only happen for 12 months. Or if it's annual, and you just say it's a one-time thing, you have one annual bill. And then you also have the option of using the continue until canceled. So if it's a one-off, I won't be able to select continue until canceled. But if it is monthly or annual, you can continue to or use the continue until canceled option, which allows for you to record renewals within the system. So like the Salpo CRM platform is a recurring service, or subscription service, so we would have a recurring monthly bill for clients. And then when we're wanting to look at any expected revenue income and things like that, or lifetime value for a client, we're going to want to start seeing what that amount looks like over time. Let's say it is we have a customer sign up for an annual contract though. If they're paying us in installments though, I don't want to only see that revenue come in that first month. I want to see the different revenue that's coming in each month, so it's correctly allocated and I can properly manage my pipeline, understand what revenue is coming in, and the costings there. It can also help your sales team in understanding what their margins are going to be based off for their commissions. And then you can report on all that, and of course as you're creating any reports, you use those save filters and you can apply them to your dashboard so that those widgets are appearing directly on your screen, so that all that revenue information is available to you as soon as you log into Salpo. The next thing we're going to look at, it's just a list of our opportunities, but the next thing we're going to look at is the new timer custom fields. So this is all about tracking your time spent intervals and reporting on time spent, and just kind of talking through a couple of use cases. So the new timer field, you just add like any standard custom field within Salpo. So you have this new timer option listed at the end. And the main use case scenario that I'm going to be using and talking through this is using it for like a support ticket. So if someone calls in and they have a fault, or they just report an issue, and we have to create a ticket against that customer, I'm going to want to look at the overall time that ticket has been open from when I pause it and stop it, so I can see how long is it taking us to resolve these different types of issues. And maybe I want to also look at how much time is our customer service spending on that. So is there a lot of dead time where we're waiting to hear back from the customers, or that maybe there's a lot of extra time that the developer is actually working, or the customer service agent is actually working on this, and the customer is actually waiting to hear back for an extended amount of time, and our responsiveness isn't as efficient as it could be. So I could create 2 different timer fields, or as many other timer fields as I want to against that specific module. So this module is using an example of a ticket. So if I have a ticket created and I have a timer field against it, it will look like this. To add that timer field, I just use the plus icon, and you can see my overall time open is an option. But it's just adding those the timer fields in as required. So let's say this ticket was assigned to me to start working. I can then use these to start hitting play, and you'll see that the timer starts clocking itself automatically. And now, let's say I've been working, something's been going on, and then someone walks over to my desk and says, hey, I'm about to go for lunch. Do you want to come with me? I can say, yeah, absolutely, and I'll just pause my time working. And automatically, the system's going to take me to the communications page and clock the duration of my time spent. So even though it looks like 10:16, 10:16, it's because I'd only been working for like the 15 seconds or something that I just hit between play and pause. But those 16 seconds will be tracked, and you can store that information within here. It automatically tags the associated ticket, and you can see me as the user in here, so it's just tracking my development working time. And we've predefined in here that this will grab the name of the field that it was working on in here. And so I can just type in my notes saying something like, got this far on the ticket, left off here, this is the last code I worked with, or this is who I last spoke with, waiting to hear back, going away to lunch, we'll check back in when I get back. You can do anything like that. So it will automatically create this communication for you. You can save it, and it will log against the communications within that ticket. And then later on, I can filter to say, show me all of my development working time against that fault. So I can start building out totals and understanding those timelines, or I can just report on this specific field. The next cool piece about those timer fields is using it with our business roles. So starting off in the business role, and this is kind of where the field, where the created on type or overall time open sort of type fields are really beneficial, is using with the business roles. So I can say anytime a ticket is created, automatically start that timer field, so that I can see the time of when the ticket was reported to when the developer first picks it up or something. Or if we're calculating our SLAs like that, of when this field, when a developer is officially assigned, start running that timer field. So there's a bunch of these different kinds of scenarios where you can use these timer fields so that you're actually tracking the exact duration, helping yourselves meet SLAs, and following up with the customers in appropriate timelines. So an example of a rule here is I want to stop the timer when a ticket is solved. So if I look back at this fault one, I can see my overall status is marked as completed. So if I wanted to say I want to stop this development working time, or the overall time, as soon as that overall status is marked as completed, then it would pause that development working time and just create a communication with that timeline in it. And then I'd be able to see that the overall time had worked here had been 3 minutes and 31 seconds. So that's it's just the business rules are the automation components within Salpo. So it's a great way to start automating some of those tasks while getting it accurate information in there, so that you can actually see and report based off that information. Next, an example is so this example, is just like updating the field so you can see what that action is within the business rule. The next example that is quite neat is setting caps then to manage your SLAs. So to show you what an example of that would look like in the system, so I've created this business rule against a ticket to saying every time the overall time open field is equal to, let's say my SLA is that I had to respond within 4 hours. So I could say when the overall time open is equal to 3 hours, I could say schedule a task for Natalie. So it's essentially a task, but it could be like it's an alert notification saying like, look, there's 1 hour left to resolve this ticket. So I can say I want to use the primary user, so that could be the developer that's working on the ticket or the customer service agent, and it could be matched against them, but maybe I also want to include their manager so that the manager has, this is an easy way of escalating that something's only got an hour left until resolution is completed. So you can go ahead and add that in there as well. You can have that happen 10 minutes before, or well, really you can change this to being any date and time amount before the 1 hour. But that's just an easy way to set caps and ceilings and reminders of highlighting those components and managing the SLA so nothing falls past it without you being alerted and aware of it. It's just great transparency and visibility within the system, and giving you a channel to escalate things without relying upon the agent to escalate that up and manage it themselves. So just let the system do it for you. So those are our updated business rules, so that's including the timer field so that you have that option to start, reset, pause, all of those different components. And the last new feature that we're going to have a look at is the brand new aBILLity integration. So I was saying earlier that it's primarily been used with telecommunications customers, and so that's our main use cases in looking through this. So I'll have more of the examples will be more structured around that. But you'll see here when you turn it on, you get to define your order settings. So what kind of information do I want to be syncing over from aBILLity into Salpo, and what do I want to be adding into Salpo that syncs back into aBILLity? So I can set up that information after turning on the integration. It's a really easy integration in that you just need your username and password to get set up, and then your aBILLity like URL name, and then it's done. So how does it all work? Well, after turning on the integration, there's a custom connection that's created called aBILLity product, and within here you actually get to add custom fields to this product option. So let's say you do outside of those standard fields that you just selected in the control panel, you get to add any different types of custom fields in there that might pertain to your provisioning process. So like understanding who the supplier is, what the SLA is, what the contract start date and end date are, any different warranty information, warranty start and end dates, if there's any notes or discounts applied, any of those different types of details that going back and forth, because in telecommunications there's a lot of negotiation where like let's say the vendor will go out and, or the organization will go out and say, I want the best rate on mobile telephones for calling it this, I want broadband for that, this is what my office setup is, go find me the best rates. So these organizations will go out and find, they'll hustle and find all the different kind of best rates that are at the time. Let's say the customer, it takes them a week to get back, but the customer says, thumbs up, let's move forward with it. Well, by then, the vendor may have changed some of their rates. And so now that the organization has kind of gone back and forth, they may need to negotiate a bit with the supplier or the vendor. They may need to confirm that the vendor will go to that location. I mean, there's just a bunch of different components of installs and making sure everything's all right, and that's all managed within that provisioning stage. And so you can, and it's per line item really that you're needing to be able to update that information. So now this integration allows you to put custom fields within that connection outside of just the standard Salpo fields that we provide for you, like your tax rate, your cost, sale, quantity, like cost price, sale price, quantity, and things like that. This really gives you some additional space to track information that's specific to that relationship between the product and the opportunity. So while you have a master product catalog of what a product price may be, you may have sold it to at a different rate because of the tier pricing, or you may have, like, one customer may opt for a 24/7 SLA and another customer may opt for a standard SLA. And so when they call in, your support team is going to need to be able to see, well, what has that customer paid for that product? And so when I'm adding that product to opportunity, this is the screen I'm going to see where I'm choosing from my aBILLity catalog, and I have all the different data fields, like the standard Salpo ones, but now I also have all the different data fields of those custom fields like SLA type that are related to this product line for this sale. So once I add and save that product to the opportunity, it's just going to give me a list of the associated products with that opportunity, so I can see that information, and I can use my columns here to view and see what information I've filled out so that it's showing within here for easy visibility. So like if that customer service agent did need to quickly see, well, what was their contract start date, or are they in contract, or do they have an SLA against them? Like, are they paying for additional support, or are they out of contract and they need to, the customer service agent has an option to upsell to say, if you want us to look at this fault, you're going to need to sign up for a maintenance package. So it's just great quick visibility for the organization, or for the agents and internal teams, to see what's going on with each product line from the Salpo side. Well, to get billing sorted, so this would be before anybody's calling in about any faults that they need to follow up with, but just to even get to the billing component, which is where aBILLity is. aBILLity is the product master. The products are loaded in there. You add those products then to, against sales or orders. They're not products, they're called service charges, but you add that information in against the order opportunity within Salpo. And when you're adding that, there's a difference of there's a difference of the hierarchy and contacts within aBILLity, in that you have a customer, but then each customer may have as many sites as they want. So like, let's say, for example, you're looking at McDonald's. There may be a McDonald's as a customer, but there's different McDonald's franchises all over the place. So let's say someone owns 10 franchisee locations. Then I could have my organizational name as the customer, but then I'm going to have individual sites. And let's say I was supplying the hardware for broadband for 4 of their sites. I would need to create an order for each of the 4 different sites, and that's that site information. So a site is an organization within Salpo, and the parent company is an organization within Salpo. And so then I just have that information of, well, where's this delivery and installation taking place? Who's the site contact? There are all these different required fields for aBILLity, and that will just sync over. And just to highlight it, short name is required in aBILLity, so that's in here as well. And so as soon as this information is set up, so this is syncing and creating these contacts and details within aBILLity, I just come over here and hit sync. My screen right now is saying update because I've already synced this before. But what's great about this is during that negotiation phase, let's say there's different points in which you need to sync products and information into aBILLity because something needs to be billed sooner rather than another part or ordered piece. And maybe there are changes that are made to the bill and invoice, or things are added on as the conversation develops. So I can then update any of my details and connected products within here, within the opportunity, and then update my record and aBILLity to reflect those changes. So within this product, or like the aBILLity connection, when we were looking at those different custom fields that are associated with the product, some of those fields are aBILLity fields, and if I'm making any updates and changes to those fields within Salpo, I'm going to need them to also reflect back into aBILLity, so that aBILLity is showing the most recent updates and information as well. So if I've made any changes to those custom fields within Salpo, I can come back here and hit sync with aBILLity and just update that record in aBILLity. So it's allowing the sales team to really remain and stay within Salpo, and it's allowing the financial team to really remain in finances. And then the provisioning team can kind of work and manage within Salpo that whole provisioning process of getting contracting set up, getting negotiating with the different suppliers, working with tech teams on getting configuration of the products and components sorted, communicating with the client on installation dates and schedules and things like that. And because all of that's happening within Salpo and the provisioning team's working on all that per line item against the sale order directly within Salpo, the sales team also then has exact visibility as to what's going on there, and can assist or just quickly jump in for an update and then leave things be so that they can see where it's at. Or if a customer calls, they'll be able to see and get visibility on where that's standing. So it's really just a great way of getting visibility now across both, or not both, but all the different departments and teams, so that you're managing that customer and site hierarchy, but also you're progressing the different teams and orders while giving everybody visibility and keeping it quite simple. So those are the main features that Salpo has been working on over the last few months. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to the marketing@salpo.com team for any feedback, or if you're a current Salpo customer in trial right now, and you have any questions about applying any of these features, you don't hesitate to reach out to our support@salpo.com team. We have professional services available as well, so if you did want to have one of the Salpo team members come in on site or just chat over the phone for an hour or something to talk through your use case, we can set those, kind of schedule something for you to have that one-on-one time with one of our team members, just to help you and talk through any of these components. Like maybe you want to have a look at how do I build a quote within Salpo. We'd love to sit down and help you walk through some of those components, but definitely feel free to play in your system, and then say if you have come across any questions, reach out to either team really, and someone will get back to you to assist.